She humiliated me in public, not even a real relationship. 1 week later. I still remember the way she laughed. That cruel, condescending laugh, sharp, loud, and so perfectly timed it felt like a performance. Maybe because it was. I was standing in the middle of a crowded restaurant. Her birthday party. Packed with her friends. Some I barely knew. Some I knew way too well. And all of them were staring at me like I was the punchline to a joke I hadn't heard yet. And I wasn't just standing there. I was holding a ring. Yeah, that kind of ring. I had spent weeks planning it. Weeks overthinking the timing, the moment, the words I'd say. And somehow, even after all that prep, nothing could have prepared me for this. Because just as I reached into my pocket, right as I was about to kneel down and propose, she said, loud enough for the entire table to hear, "You're not actually doing this, right?" The table froze. Conversations halted. Silverware stopped clinking. I looked up, confused, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. She smiled. Cold. Unbothered. Then glanced around the table, making sure everyone was watching. That's when she dropped the line that would echo in my head for days. She said I was never more than a backup plan. That she'd never actually seen a future with someone like me. And that she had only kept me around until something better came along. The whole table laughed. Some nervously, not sure if this was a prank. Others? They were fully enjoying it. Like I was reality TV. Then, she turned to one of her friends, some finance bro-looking guy I had always been suspicious of, and said, casually, that she was finally free. Free. From me. I didn't say a word. Didn't cry. Didn't beg. I just walked out. The ring? I left it on the table. Let them laugh about that too. The moment I stepped outside, the night air hit different. It didn't feel cold. It felt clean. Like I just shed a version of myself that was too naive to survive what just happened. But inside, I was wrecked. I didn't sleep that night. Just stared at the ceiling, replaying every detail. Every red flag I'd ignored. Every moment where I chose to give her the benefit of the doubt. And trust me, there were a lot. She had always been a little performative. Always more concerned about how things looked than how they felt. Always telling me what to wear, how to speak, when to post something, and when to delete it. I thought that was just her personality. Turns out, it was her strategy. To control. To climb. And eventually, to discard. I stayed off social media the next day. I didn't want to see what they were saying, but I didn't have to check. The messages poured in anyway. People asking if I was okay. Others sending links to a TikTok that had already gone viral. A video of her birthday party, the exact moment she humiliated me. The caption read, "When the situationship gets too serious." Millions of views. Thousands of comments. Laughing at me. Tearing me apart. I became a meme. A faceless, voiceless symbol of desperation. And still, I stayed quiet. Because I knew something they didn't. Something she didn't. I wasn't just a guy with a ring. I wasn't just the backup plan. I was the one thing she never expected. The person whose silence would cost her everything. Because here's what no one at that table knew. While she was busy building her image, chasing clout, and making viral moments at my expense, I was building something else. My company. Yeah, while she mocked my little coding obsession, I was quietly developing a startup with 2 partners. And while she bragged about followers, I was on Zoom calls with actual investors. She never asked about it. Never cared. Thought it was a hobby. A phase. A joke. Well, the joke was on her. Because 3 days after she posted that video, 3 days after she publicly ended our relationship with a round of applause, I signed a deal that changed everything. $500,000 in funding. Valuation in the millions. And my name on a product that was about to take off. Her name? Nowhere. That's when the shift began. First, I noticed she'd viewed my LinkedIn profile. Twice. Then she followed me again on Instagram. Then came the first DM. She said she wanted to talk. Said she missed our connection. That she didn't realize what she had until it was gone. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because, honestly, I just didn't feel anything anymore. Not anger. Not love. Not even resentment. Just peace. But she wasn't ready to let go. And what happened next? Let's just say, the same people who laughed at me at that birthday dinner, they weren't laughing anymore. Not when the truth came out. Not when the tables turned. And definitely not when she showed up at my door. Crying. Begging. And realizing far too late that I was the one who got away. The first time she texted, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe a drunk message. Maybe an accident. Because after what she did to me, after publicly turning my life into a spectacle, I didn't expect to ever hear from her again. But then came the second message. And the third. Each one more careful than the last. More deliberate. Like she was building a narrative in reverse, trying to rewrite history one line at a time. She said she was just being emotional that night. That she was caught up in the moment. That she didn't expect it to go viral. Right. Like the perfectly timed camera angles, the forced laughter, the TikTok caption, like none of that was intentional. No. She wanted it to blow up. She wanted a viral breakup. She wanted the internet to pick a side, and she thought it would pick hers. And for 48 hours, maybe it did. But the thing about viral fame? It burns hot, and then it burns down. The shift was subtle at first. A few comments under her video calling her out. Why would you humiliate someone like this? Wait, wasn't he proposing? This is actually kind of gross. She tried deleting them, blocking the users, reposting the clip with different music, a different caption. But people remembered. Screenshots were taken. Duets were made. The internet has no loyalty, and it never forgets. Meanwhile, I said nothing. I didn't post. I didn't clap back. I didn't leak the screenshots. Because I knew she would do that work for me. What she didn't know, and what made all this even more poetic, is that I wasn't completely invisible the night she ended things. Someone else at that party recorded it too. Not her version. The full thing. Unedited. I didn't ask them to. They just sent it to me the next day. And unlike her polished, curated clip, this one showed the whole scene. Her mocking me. Her friends laughing. Her saying things I know she would have cut if she could. Things like, I can't wait to see his face. Watch this. Or, he's about to cry. This is gonna be so funny. That video didn't go public. But it didn't need to. Because I had it. And I knew exactly what to do with it, eventually. But first, I had to wait. A few days later, she messaged again. This time, she said she was in a bad place. Said she was getting hate. Said she just wanted to talk. She asked if we could meet. Said it wouldn't be weird. I didn't reply. But I read every word. Because this was the part she never saw coming. I was never going to destroy her. I was going to let her do it. All I had to do was stay silent. And silence, when used properly, is a weapon most people don't know how to fight. She started spiraling. Her content flopped. Her followers dropped. She tried pivoting, posting emotional stories, fake tears, even a video titled, I messed up. Here's the truth. But it didn't land. No one bought it. And here's the wildest part. In that truth video, she didn't apologize to me. She apologized to her audience. Said she was going through things. That she felt pressured to entertain. That she made poor decisions under stress. Never once did she say my name. Never once did she admit what she really did. That's when I knew she wasn't sorry. She was just sorry she lost control of the narrative. One night, around 11 p.m., she called me. Not text. Not DM. She actually called me. I let it ring. Watched her name flash across the screen. Didn't answer. Didn't block her either. She called again the next day. Then again. And I noticed something. The tone of her text was changing. Less confident. More desperate. She started saying things like, Can we please talk? I miss you. I messed up. I know I did. She even said she didn't realize how much she loved me until she saw I was gone. Not until I walked out of that restaurant. Not until I disappeared online. Not until she watched her empire crack and mine rise from the ashes. Only then did she love me. Funny how that works. But I still wasn't done waiting. Because karma was only just getting started. And her real unraveling was about to begin. It was a Tuesday. Late afternoon. Nothing special. The kind of day that just drifts by, background noise to a peaceful week. I had just finished a call with one of our new advisors, someone I never would have met if I were still in that relationship. I was feeling calm, focused, light. And then the doorbell rang. Once. Then again. Not urgent, but definitely intentional. I checked the camera. And there she was. Hair pulled back. No makeup. Hoodie 2 sizes too big. Not her usual presentation. Not the girl who once spent an hour getting ready for brunch. Just her. Raw. And completely out of place. For a second, I thought about not opening the door. Thought about letting her stand there, like I had stood alone in that restaurant. But something in her face stopped me. She looked, not sad. Not angry. Just empty. So I opened it. She didn't speak right away. Didn't launch into some big apology. She just stood there. Eyes locked on mine. like she was waiting for permission to fall apart. And I didn't say anything either. I just leaned against the door frame and waited. Eventually, she spoke. Said she didn't know where else to go. Said everyone had turned on her. Said she made a mistake. Not the mistake. Not the one she owed me an apology for. Just a mistake. She danced around it like the words might burn her mouth. She said she hadn't been sleeping. That the internet had been brutal. That people who once called her queen now called her trash. And that the people she thought were her friends? Gone. I didn't react. Because I knew what she was really saying. Not that she was sorry, but that she was alone. And scared. And maybe, just maybe, she hoped I could fix that. She said she missed us. Said I had been good to her. Said she took me for granted. And here's the part that still stuns me. She said all that, like it was news to me. Like I hadn't known every second of it while it was happening. Like I hadn't spent 2 years shrinking myself to fit the mold she wanted. But I didn't interrupt. I let her talk. Let her pour it out. Because I wanted to see how far she'd go. If she'd ever say what really needed to be said. Spoiler, she didn't. After a while, she trailed off. Ran out of words. And I asked her one question. Why now? She looked at me like she didn't understand. So I clarified. Why not the day after the party? Or the day the video went viral? Or the day you started losing followers? She hesitated. Then she said something that, to this day, I still think about. She said, I thought you'd come back. You always do. That hit me harder than any insult ever could. Because she was right. For 2 years, every time she pushed me away, every time she crossed a line, every time she tested the limits of what I could take, I had come back. I'd explained. I'd forgiven. I'd made excuses for her. And in doing that, I had trained her to believe I'd never really leave. So when she humiliated me in front of everyone, when she laughed at my pain, when she called me a backup plan, she still thought I'd come crawling back. She never thought I'd walk away for good. That was her real mistake. I told her I was happy now. That my life, without her, was better, clearer, quieter. I told her I didn't hate her, but I didn't trust her. And I didn't want her near me anymore. Not as a partner. Not as a friend. Not even as a memory. She started to cry. Silent tears, barely held back. But I didn't move. Didn't comfort her. Because I realized something in that moment. Her pain wasn't about me. It was about losing control. She wasn't mourning our relationship. She was mourning her reflection in it. The image she had built around being the one in charge. The one adored. The one envied. And now? She had nothing. And I had walked away clean. I told her I wished her peace. Not luck. Not love. Just peace. Then I stepped back, closed the door, and locked it. Not because I was angry, but because I was done. And behind that door, for the first time in years, I felt safe. I thought that was it. When I shut the door that night, when I turned the lock and walked away from her for good, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Finality. No cliffhanger. No, maybe someday. Just a clean break between my past and whatever came next. I didn't expect a thank you. I didn't expect closure. But I also didn't expect what came after. Because some people, they don't go quietly. The next day was calm. Too calm. I kept checking my phone, expecting another message. Another long text, another apology, another attempt at pulling me back in. But nothing came. No pings. No likes. No views on my stories. Radio silence. And for a moment, I thought maybe she finally got it. Maybe she'd accepted the consequences of her actions. Maybe it was over. It wasn't. That weekend, I got a call from one of my co-founders. He sounded weird, hesitant. Said he'd gotten a message request on LinkedIn from someone claiming to know me. Said she had questions about my professional integrity. That I'd been lying about who I really am. I didn't even need to ask who sent it. I already knew. She was trying to smear me. To ruin my name in the one space she had never been able to touch, my career. Because that was where I had rebuilt. That was where I had risen. And she knew it. The next few days, more strange things started happening. An anonymous email to our investor inbox claiming I had stolen code. A fake review on our app page accusing us of data theft. A thread on Reddit, vague but clearly targeted. No names. No evidence. Just enough poison to make people look. And that was the goal. She didn't want the truth. She wanted doubt. Suspicion. Noise. The kind of static that makes people pause before trusting you. That's when I realized. Her visit wasn't closure. It was reconnaissance. She hadn't come to make peace. She had come to measure my walls. to see if I was still vulnerable, to find cracks. And when she saw I'd sealed every door, she went looking for windows. But what she didn't know was this. I had anticipated this. I knew who I was dealing with. I knew what she was capable of when the mask slipped. So I had documented everything, every message, every voicemail, every video, not because I wanted revenge, but because people like her. They don't accept consequences. They rewrite stories. And I wasn't going to let her rewrite mine. I talked to my team, showed them everything, not to make her look bad, but to keep us safe. Because while she was spreading lies online, I had proof. And when you have proof, you don't have to yell. You just wait. And that's what I did. I waited. And while I did, her world kept shrinking. More brands unfollowed her. She lost a small sponsorship deal with a skincare line after people started connecting the dots. A former friend of hers posted a video calling her out, not by name, but with just enough detail for people to figure it out. And suddenly, that viral birthday moment wasn't a joke anymore. It was a red flag. And she became a warning sign. A week after she showed up at my door, I got another knock. But this time, it wasn't her. It was a delivery guy. A small package. No return address. Inside, a silver bracelet. One I bought her a year ago. Custom engraved. Alongside it, a torn photo of us. Split right down the middle. There was no note. No message. Just a symbol. A final act of desperation. The kind you send when you've got nothing left to say, only blame to assign. And I looked at that broken photo, that empty gesture. And I realized something. This wasn't about heartbreak. It wasn't about loss. It was about control. And the moment I took that away from her, she unraveled. She hesitated. Then she said, because she's not just spiraling, she's blaming you for everything. And that's when it all clicked. The messages. The smears. The sudden shift from apology to sabotage. She wasn't just hurt. She was trying to drag me down with her. In her mind, I was the villain. Because I didn't give her the ending she wanted. Because I didn't play along. Because I didn't forgive her, heal her, and make her feel like the story still centered around her. I thanked her for the call. She asked if I'd ever go public. If I'd ever share my side. I told her no. Because I didn't need to. The truth has a funny way of surfacing, especially when you stay silent long enough for the lies to collapse under their own weight. And that was already happening. She was losing followers. Losing sponsors. Losing friends. But most importantly, she was losing her power. You'd think after everything. The stage breakup, the viral humiliation, the failed smear campaign. She would finally stop. But some people, they don't stop until they've burned everything down. Even if they're the ones holding the match. A week after her best friend called me, I got tagged in something. I had muted all her accounts, blocked the names I knew. But this one slipped through because it wasn't her page. It was a repost. A clip from a podcast. One I didn't even know she was invited on. And there she was. Sitting across from two hosts, both wide-eyed, pretending to be sympathetic as she spun her newest version of the story. She said the breakup had been messy. Said I was controlling. That I'd isolated her. That I made her feel small. She didn't name me. Of course not. But she gave just enough details, just enough breadcrumbs for anyone following the drama to connect the dots. And people did. The comments lit up instantly. Wait, is this about the restaurant guy? She's trying to flip it now? Girl, we saw the video. But some believed her. Some wanted to believe her. Because that's how stories work. People love a comeback. A redemption arc. A soft rebrand with just the right amount of tears. And she knew it. This wasn't about me. It was about survival. A last-ditch effort to control perception. But here's the thing. Perception only works when the truth stays quiet. That night, I sat down at my desk. Opened a folder I hadn't touched in weeks. Inside, screenshots, videos, audio clips. Everything. Every lie. Every fake apology. Every passive-aggressive threat. Including the raw footage from that night. The real footage. Not the one she posted. The one someone else captured, with full audio. And I watched it again. I watched myself, standing there, ring in hand, as she laughed. Watched her whisper to her friend right before I knelt down. He's doing it. Get ready. I watched her smirk. Watched the others snicker. Watched my face go from hope to realization to silence. Then I watched myself walk away. Not a word. No anger. Just quiet, focused dignity. And suddenly I realized. This was my power. Not the proof itself. but the way I had carried myself despite it. She tried to narrate my fall, but there was nothing to film. I didn't break. I didn't fight. I walked. And that was what made her unravel. I didn't post the footage. I didn't need to, but I did send it to one person. The producer of that podcast. No caption, no explanation, just the file. A week later, that episode was taken down. No statement, no apology, just gone. And she stopped posting for a while after that. Then, out of nowhere, I got one final message. A voice note. I listened once. Her voice was trembling. Slower. Softer. She said she didn't know why she had done what she did. Said she felt like she was watching herself from the outside. Said it wasn't about hurting me, but proving something to herself. That she could win. And then she said something I'll never forget. You didn't even fight back. That's what broke me. It wasn't a compliment. It was a confession. She wanted chaos. She wanted a scene. She wanted me to become the villain, so she could play the victim. But I never gave her that. And in the end, she destroyed her own story. I didn't reply. I archived the message and went back to work. Because here's the twist she never saw coming. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. And when you stop playing someone else's game, you win by default. For a while, it was quiet. After the podcast episode vanished, after her last voice note disappeared into my archive, things settled. No more fake messages. No more attempts at controlling the narrative. She went silent. And for the first time in months, I actually believed it might be over. But I should have known better. Because when a person builds their world on lies, their collapse doesn't end with them. It spreads. And eventually, it touches people who were never supposed to be part of the fallout. It started with a message. Not from her. From someone else. A guy named Marcus. The name meant nothing to me at first. Until he introduced himself as her ex. From before me. He said he'd seen the viral video months ago. Had recognized the smirk, the voice, the exact pattern of cruelty. Said he hadn't thought much of it, until she started showing up in his life again. Not in person. Digitally. Blocking him. Unblocking him. Following his sister. Liking photos from years ago. Leaving vague, bitter comments on anonymous accounts. He said he'd been trying to ignore it. But then he stumbled across my name, through a Reddit thread of all places. A deep dive someone had made into influencer breakups that went off the rails. Apparently, we were a case study now. And in the comments, someone mentioned my startup. My name. That's when Marcus reached out. We got on a call. At first, it was awkward. Two guys connected by the same disaster. But it didn't stay awkward for long. Because the moment he started talking, I realized something chilling. She had done the exact same thing to him. The manipulation. The control. The performance. Even the sudden, public breakup, only that time, it wasn't filmed. Just witnessed. In a party. In front of people who mattered to him. He said she thrived on the attention. Said she once told him, after an argument, that pain makes great content. And when he told her he couldn't take it anymore, she spun the story, of course. Told her followers he was abusive. Cold. Dismissive. He lost friends. Almost lost a job opportunity. All because she needed to win. I asked him why he never spoke up. He laughed, bitter. Said, because I thought I was the only one. And because no one cares when a man says he got manipulated. They call it weakness. That sat with me. Hard. Because I had felt the same. It's easy to say, just walk away. But when someone is building an entire story around your downfall, when they're 2 steps ahead, smiling while you're still stunned, it's not that simple. You don't fight back. You freeze. And by the time you unfreeze, the damage is already done. But now? Now there were 2 of us. 2 stories. 2 timelines. And they matched. Every pattern. Every phrase. Even the way she cried when she didn't get her way. It wasn't random. It was rehearsed. Marcus and I kept talking. Not to take her down. We weren't interested in revenge. We just needed to know that we weren't crazy. That it wasn't us. That what happened was real. And it was. But the more we talked, the clearer something became. There were probably more of us. Others who didn't speak up. Others still stuck in the aftermath. Because people like her don't stop. They move on. New targets. New platforms. New narratives. And they keep telling themselves they're the victim until someone makes it stop. We didn't publish anything. We didn't leak anything. But someone else did. Not us. Not her friend. Not even Marcus. It came from inside her circle. A private voice recording. A group chat screenshot. A photo that proved what happened at that birthday party wasn't a misunderstanding. It hit Twitter first, then TikTok. And once the algorithm caught the scent of scandal, there was no stopping it. The story flipped overnight. And this time, no amount of tears could rebrand it. It happened fast. Faster than I expected. Faster than she ever could have imagined. The voice recording hit TikTok on a Tuesday morning. By lunch, it was everywhere. Twitter, YouTube Shorts, Reddit, Instagram Reels. Clipped, stitched, reposted, slowed down, subtitled, analyzed. And for the first time, the world heard her say it clearly, smugly, confidently. He's about to propose. Get your phone out. This is gonna be perfect. That was it. 7 seconds of audio. 7 seconds that shattered the entire lie. The comments turned instantly. The ones who had defended her? Gone. The she's just emotional crowd? Silent. Now it was outrage. Disgust. People realizing they had been manipulated. They called it emotional abuse. Narcissistic behavior. A real-time case study in how clout destroys people from the inside out. And suddenly, she wasn't a relatable influencer anymore. She was content poison. Brand deals dropped her. Podcasts deleted episodes. Even her TikTok bio changed from LA chaos and vibes to just a dot. No linktree. No contact email. Just silence. But the final blow? That came from someone I never expected. Her sister. I hadn't even known she had a sibling. She never mentioned her, at least not in any real way. Just vague references, like, my family doesn't get this world, or she's just jealous I get attention. But she was real. And apparently she'd had enough. Because one night, I got tagged in a tweet. A screenshot of a Notes app statement. From the sister. She wrote, "To anyone watching this drama unfold, yes, that's my sister. And no, this isn't the first time she's hurt someone for views. I've seen her fake breakups, fake friendships, even fake therapy sessions to get sympathy online. She plays the victim until the spotlight fades. Then she finds someone new." It ended with, "I stayed silent for too long. I'm sorry." That post alone got over 600K likes. She deleted her own account the next day. Her main, her backup, her burner. All gone. The last digital trace was a reposted video titled, "What Happens When Manipulators Lose the Mic?" And it was just a silent montage. Clips of her laughing. Clips of me walking away. Clips of her crying on live streams. Cut with black screens and one caption. "This isn't karma. This is consequence." People asked if I felt vindicated. If I was celebrating. But honestly, I didn't feel much of anything. Not joy. Not revenge. Just peace. I didn't destroy her. I didn't post the receipts. I didn't need to. She did it to herself. And that was the twist she never saw coming. Because she always thought silence was weakness. That if I didn't fight, I must be broken. But in the end, my silence was the only thing she couldn't spin. She threw fire at someone who refused to burn. And the flames turned back on her. It happened in the most ordinary place. A grocery store. Middle of the week. 7:30 p.m. I was walking past the freezer aisle, thinking about dinner. Frozen pizza or something halfway healthy. The kind of decision normal people make when their lives are quiet. And that's when I saw her. She didn't see me at first. She was standing by the self-checkout, holding a half-empty basket. No makeup. Hair tied back. Hoodie and sweats. A shadow of the girl I used to know. And a ghost of the persona she tried to sell online. Her eyes were down. No phone in hand. No audience. No curated posture. Just her. And for a second, I almost walked away. But something stopped me. Not curiosity. Not revenge. Just closure. She looked up. Our eyes met. And the silence between us said more than anything we'd ever said out loud. She froze. Not like she'd seen a threat, but like she'd seen someone from a dream she couldn't wake up from. And then, something I didn't expect. She smiled. Faint. Sad. Almost apologetic. Not fake. Not performative. Just real. The kind of smile that says, "I know what I did. I know you know. And there's nothing left to fix." And I nodded. Not out of pity. Not out of forgiveness. Just acknowledgement. Yes. I saw it all. And I survived it. She stepped forward, just one pace. It looked like she wanted to say something. But whatever it was, she didn't. Her lips moved. Then stopped. She glanced at her basket. Then at the door. Then back at me. And I knew in that moment, she wasn't looking for redemption. Not anymore. She was just trying to exist, in a world where the story had moved on, and she couldn't edit the ending. I watched her walk out. She didn't look back, didn't film anything, didn't post a cryptic story later. She just left, like any other person who has to carry their own consequences. I paid for my groceries, drove home, ate in silence, and for the first time, it felt like the story wasn't looping in my head anymore. It was over, not because she said sorry, not because justice was served, but because I no longer needed either. What she took from me that night at the restaurant, I got back tenfold. My peace, my focus, my self-respect. And she lost the only thing she truly valued. Control over the story. People always ask what happens after. After the drama dies. After the texts stop. After the storm quiets down, and you're left alone with your thoughts. They expect a happy ending. Or a tragic one. Or something in between that wraps up with a nice little lesson. But the truth? Sometimes, what comes after isn't a moment. It's a choice. Made every day. A decision to not look back. To not rewatch the videos. To not reread the messages. To not wonder, what if? And that's exactly what I did. I stopped talking about her. Not because I was scared. Not because I was holding back. But because the story wasn't hers anymore. It was mine. The story of what happens when you walk away. Not angrily. Not bitterly. Just fully. When you choose peace over attention. Clarity over closure. And growth over revenge. I focused on my company. On the people who believed in the work before it went viral. The team that never asked for sides, only results. The ones who saw value in me, even when I was broken. We grew. Quietly. Steadily. Without noise. 6 months after the collapse, we closed another round of funding. I signed a deal that would have made her jaw drop, if she were still watching. But I didn't post about it. Didn't mention her. Didn't leave breadcrumbs for her to follow. She had lost access. Not because I blocked her, but because I moved past the part of myself that still needed her to see. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about that evening. The restaurant. The silence when I stood up. The cold air when I stepped outside. And now, I'm grateful for it. Because that was the moment I stopped waiting to be chosen. Stopped waiting for respect. Stopped handing out explanations like apologies. That was the moment I chose me. And if you've been through something like this, if someone broke you publicly, while you held the pieces privately, know this. You don't have to win louder than they hurt you. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is survive in silence and let the truth echo without your voice. This story isn't a revenge arc. It's a release. And the person I was before all this, he would have begged for an apology. He would have clung to the hope of being understood. He would have stayed far too long just to prove his worth. But me now? I don't need to prove anything. I don't need her to see it. Because I saw it for myself.